Hello and welcome to another week of the Xbox North podcast. If you notice, it's just me and Dan again. So Andrew
and
won't be.
Andrew. We got
And
pseudo Andrew down there.
Yeah, no, Andrew will be there for a little while. He's not going to be back hosting until October 6th. He'll be back. He's just he's pursuing his acting career right now, so he's just out there having fun.
That's what he tells us anyways.
Yeah, exactly, right? He just he just needs 2 weeks off, right? He did do an episode last week, but you know what happened with that. But
had nothing to do with me.
Yeah. As they say, shit happens, right?
Yeah.
But welcome to episode 17. And, you know, lucky sevens. I can't believe we're already at 17. Watch a year will go by and we'll just be like, I can't believe we've been doing this for a year already. But I think it's our excuse to just get together every week and just shoot the shit, right?
Oh, yeah.
But this week we're going to be, exactly, at the very least, right? But this week we're going to be talking RedFall. We're also going to be talking some Deathloop as well, the fantastic reception that game has gotten. Also, we're going to sadly talk about some Battlefield delays as well for Battlefield 2042. But before, we start it, we got to do our due diligence. And before we start, don't forget to subscribe. Press the subscribe button, the bell icon if you want. Leave a comment, a like if you can. Always up for answering questions or anything like that. You can also find us if you don't want to look at these two faces here. Don't worry. You can also find us on audio. We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Podcasts. Just look up Xbox North. And we're also on Reddit, Instagram. Just look up Xbox North. And we are also on Twitter at North Xbox. So I interact quite a bit on Twitter as well, so you can shoot us a follow. I'll shoot you a follow as well, and grow our community from here. But thank you to everyone who does listen every week. You guys are awesome.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, I can't believe it, man. Who wants to hear our opinion? But
right. It's about video games of all things.
Exactly, right? But like I said, it's an excuse for us to talk every week, right?
Oh, yeah.
But Dan, how's life? What you playing? How's everything?
Pretty good. It's been going well. I've been working my way through Superliminal, which is a very trippy game. I've recommended it to anyone who I've come across that might be interested in that sort of game. It's very Portal-esque, but instead of Portal, it's all about perspective. So it's a really interesting puzzle game based on picking up an object and holding it out so that it looks like it's far away will make it bigger because, things at a distance are generally bigger. And so you lift it way up in the air or something, it'll be far away. Or if you move really close to it and then pick it up and then drop it, then because you're seeing it so big, it gets even bigger too. And you start to bring it closer to you, drop it in a close place to you, and it'll get smaller. So it's a weird little...
I saw the trailer. He picked up a toy house and dropped it, and it became an actual house. He could walk into the front door.
Yeah.
And it's first person.
It was really cool. Yeah, it's all first person and everything. And it was even one of the more interesting levels that I came across was there was a set of 2 doors. And so one door that you went into led out the other door. But you can change the size. They were just doors basically on a stand-up. So it was if the door was on this wall here, there's a little piece of wood holding it up and everything, a set prop or something. And you could make each one either bigger or smaller. So you make one your size and make the other one super big. And then you walk through the door, all of a sudden you're super big. And then vice versa too, is if you make the other door really small and you go through your size door, then you get extra small.
See, I can never deal with those kind of games. I see that's something my wife would be more interested in playing. She loves puzzle games like that, so I could totally see that being down her something that you really enjoy. But yeah, from what I've seen of the trailer, it definitely has a very unique idea considering the genre of game it's in. I've never seen that idea of, the way you leave an object in the perspective is so do you hold the button to keep it like that?
So you can pick it up and then drop it. So it's a toggle button, at least on my settings. And
Okay, so
then,
when you drop it, it stays at that size?
yeah, but it doesn't always interact with objects the same way either. So like I came across one like Apple thing that like if I pressed on it, I couldn't actually pick it up or anything, but a smaller apple, like it would make a copy of itself. And because that copy was closer to me, it's like a little bit smaller. And it would just keep doing that until you like ran out of space. And I even got an achievement for like doing the maximum number it could process at the time or whatever, or like before it just like stopped allowing me to make any more. And yeah, some of them are like, I could press another button to basically pull all the apples back into the original apple and try it a different way. So it was a really like, yeah, weird, interesting sort of way that they had you interact with stuff. And it's just like, yeah, it's kind of like Psychonauts 2, where it's like some of it will play with your perspective a little bit, and some of it will make you think a different way. And like, yeah, it's an interesting kind of puzzle game that way. It's cool.
Yeah, I like when a game like that, or when games in general just really just use the fact that it's a game to its advantage. Like opening, like I remember in Psychonauts, I turned a corner and there was this hole in a book, and when you went through it, you're just in a completely different area. And I was like, wait a minute, am I in a different, like, what just happened there? So I really enjoy stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting ways of playing with your perspective is very cool. But that sounds very cool. Anything else here?
It's really interesting. I've been playing that and State of Decay too. So I've never played any of the State of Decay games before, but they're actually a lot more interesting than I kind of gave them credit for at first. I didn't think I would be that interested in it, but yeah, it's a basic like kind of resource builder and everything, but there's a lot more granularity and kind of personality to it too.
Mm-hmm.
So each of your, like you build a little community and like you find survivors and you add them to your community. I started off with 2 guys and immediately like after the first sort of introductory level, I got introduced to 2 more, and then we basically went off and started a camp, and then I found another 2 people out in the open world that they've got. And as you're finding these people, they all have personality traits and everything, which actually affects how they get along with the other members of the group. And like, yeah, some people have like different interesting personalities. Like I know, I was playing with our buddy Ryan, and he's got one guy who, one girl who was trying to go out and find drugs just to like find something to do to like relax. Like you're in a zombie apocalypse and they're like doing that. And there was
time, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's another guy in there who's like adamantly like against any sort of drug use or anything. So he's like, no, we shouldn't be going out to do this stuff. Like, it's not okay. And you get to kind of make the choices there because you can become each of the characters and you can kind of decide how they're going to play things out a little bit. So Ryan was playing the girl character and going out to get her drugs and stuff, and ended up deciding to tell the guy that basically you can, like, everybody should be allowed to do whatever they want. Like it's not like rob the place or like run away with all the food, which some people will actually do and everything. But it's like she's making her arguments that kind of have valid points and everything too. And it was interesting to even see like you get other communities that are out in the world and you can either like trade with them, or if you can kind of screw them over and they'll start to become your enemies. And there was like a trader, so he asks you to do bounty missions and you get extra fancy weapons and stuff, and there's all sorts of cars and vehicles you can collect and upgrade, and it was like way more in depth than I thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, I'm glad they announced then a 3rd one, eh?
Yep.
I'm curious how because the game, man, it always has some jank to it.
Oh yeah.
I can see from the first one to this one, just has a weird.
I think it's a fairly small team too that's working on it, so a little bit.
They got the resources of Microsoft behind them because they own them. So let's hope the 3rd one will use maybe that Unreal 5 engine.
Oh yeah.
You know,
it's funny.
The CGI clip definitely suggests a very beautiful looking game we should be getting, but we'll see.
Oh yeah. I'm interested, and it's funny too because some of the personality traits get a little ridiculous too. So I've got like one guy who's a pet rock artist, and like he paints pet rocks for people, and
Pet
then
rock.
yeah, and one
Mhm.
of his other traits is he's got rough hands.
Of course.
So I gave him a sledgehammer, and he's just been bashing the crap out of zombies,
That's good.
doing a pretty good job of it too. So
Right. Right.
yeah. Yeah, and like
That's
another guy just like lies about his age just 'cause. So like, yeah, they're pretty weird, like interesting, kind of quirky personalities that like don't follow like the sort of traditions I'd think you would have in a
yeah.
game like that. Like somebody, you'd figure it'd be like, oh, somebody's good at collecting stuff and somebody's good at like
Yeah.
medicine, and it's like they do have some of those traits, but they're also like this guy's like just a weirdo.
Do they deal with like PTSD after you like leave and go on missions and stuff like that?
A little bit. Some people can kind of get that, and like they do get like tired, so you gotta take them over to the bed to rest. They start to get like some of the zombie infection and everything, and like I know through the audio, like they talk about things like they don't like doing or encountering, or some might be more scared to go out than others, and some might be like braver and more trained to become a leader or something, and so it's a really interesting, and yeah, you have to actually like up their status in the community too. So doing missions and everything makes them a more upstanding citizen. So the more you play a specific character, the better they are for that community.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds good. Maybe I'll
it's
download
cool.
it.
Yeah, it's way more in depth than I thought it was. So it's keeping my interest much longer than I thought it would too. But yeah, how about you? What did you get up to this week?
Oh, not much this week. Still playing through Psychonauts 2. Close to the end of that game. That game is just might be one of my favorite games of the year. Just an incredible game, but I've talked about that quite a bit. But I also started Halo Wars 2 again, just to kind of go through the story, because I know the Banish has a big part to do with um, Halo Infinite story. With
Oh,
all the brutes and Craig and whatnot. So we
yep.
definitely want to see where the origins of Craig came from, see where his people came from. That's been
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
So I've beaten the game before, but God, those CGI clips, I think Blur
They
Studios
were
does it.
awesome. Yeah.
Oh, they're so amazing. And the story is good. Like I'm enjoying it. And the gameplay is fun. I forgot how enjoyable the Halo RTS games are on even on console itself. So they work quite good. So I've been enjoying that quite a bit. And besides that, I've been waiting for pretty much new games to come out on Game Pass. So I really want to get through. I'm at that point in Psychonauts where I'm like, okay, I know there's a couple things on the horizon. I need to get through this because I know we got like Back for Blood coming soon and
Yep.
um, just a couple other good titles as well.
And Halo Infinite's quickly coming along too. And
Oh yeah, and they're doing well. We'll be talking about Halo Infinite later on. But I also started today Star Wars Visions,
yeah,
the anime on
I've been waiting for
Disney
those.
Plus, and I'm about 3 into it right now.
Oh yeah. What's your opinion so far?
They're really good. The first one is black and white. I forget the name of the first one, but it was black and white, and the only thing that had colors was the lightsabers and like lights of the droids.
Yeah.
And it was called The Duel. I'm pretty sure The Duel. And it was like almost like an old Japanese film, it felt like. And it was so cool. It was just essentially like this rundown town and these mercenaries I guess they were the Empire, but they kind of felt like mercenaries
Yeah.
came to like harass the town, and there was this lone guy wanting to get his droid fixed, and they shoot at his droid, and he just comes down from the mountain and fights this lady, and she has this crazy lightsaber that it looks like an umbrella almost that you'd wear, but
Yeah.
there's no like top part to it. All like the arms to it are just lightsabers.
Oh,
And she like
crazy.
spins it like um, it spins around. It reminds me of, if you ever watched, well, of course you watched Batman Returns, when the Penguin starts
Yeah.
flying with his
Helicopter umbrella.
umbrella. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the helicopter umbrella. So she has that, and it's just red lightsabers as the top part. So
That's
there's a
crazy.
really cool effect with that. And then the second episode I saw was just about a band in the Star Wars universe, and one of their members is wanted by Jabba the Hutt,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the singer was, I guess, a Padawan from the Clone Wars who escaped the whole like Anakin Skywalker killing everyone,
Yeah.
and the person who Jabba wanted was the guy who took them in. And he's like,
Okay.
no, we got to go and like try and save him. And they did put on and they just put on like a concert for Jabba the Hutt, and like that was the whole episode. So a lot of fun stuff like that, and it's gorgeously animated. And I
Yeah.
can't wait to watch. I think there's about 12 of them, so there's a good chunk of them,
Oh, yeah.
and they're about
It's such
like
an interesting
15
concept,
minutes.
just letting the artist like go to town. Like, yeah, I remember reading an article about it, and they were talking about how there were so many different artists that they wanted to have kind of showcased and have their just ideas and everything showcased as well. So they had like a little story for each one that's kind of like just in the Star Wars universe, not necessarily relating directly to the like franchise or the people themselves, like the main characters. But yeah, it's really cool, just concept, just Outer Worlds building a little bit of lore and interesting concepts. It looks super good. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, so I look forward to continue watching it,
Yeah,
and just look forward to upcoming games. To I think Sable, I think one is coming up.
yeah. I saw an ad for that one recently.
Yeah, so I want to crack into that. And yeah, being a dad, got to
Yeah.
go to the dentist with the kids, stuff like
Oh yeah.
that. Dad stuff, working, and
Oh yeah.
constantly tired. So,
Yeah. That's the life, right?
but you know what? If we were vampires, that would be a different thing. I know,
Hmm.
bad transition, right? So, let's crack into some of the topics we're going to talk about today. So, RedFall has officially been leaked, and from what I saw at the screenshots, so RedFall, from what I saw at the screenshots, it looks pre-alpha. Like this, from the screenshots they showed, this game looks early in development, or at least when these screenshots were taken.
Yeah.
So very bare bones. With this leak, we get a better idea of what the game actually be like, and a lot of us thought it would be like a Left 4 Dead kind of game, pretty much. But from what we can see, it looks more like a Borderlands game, which is very surprising.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm like way more excited for this because of that. And considering the great reception Deathloop has gotten, Xbox has been on a bit of a roll with Psychonauts 2, now Deathloop, and this is another Arcane game coming down. I feel like the potential for this game now is quite high. I love me a good co-op game. This is something we can play together. Um,
Oh yeah.
and
Nice
it's more like,
online
yeah,
co-op and everything. And yeah, I like the idea that it's going to be like a feel of Borderlands. I've always really liked the Borderlands, especially the co-op style and everything. And having it
yeah.
in that sort of universe with the vampires and everything. And man, I think it's going to be pretty big. It looks like.
Yeah, and considering how good of a reception Deathloop has gotten, like it's getting like what 10 out of 10s and stuff like that. But
Oh
we'll talk
yeah.
about that soon. I hope Microsoft really calls up the studio heads of Arcane and said, you know what, let's increase that budget a bit for
Right?
Redfall, But I think this
especially
is
with a
something.
leak like this.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, it looked rough, and it's so funny. People are like dogging on the game for it's like, oh, look how bad this looked, and I'm like, this is like pre-alpha. I'm like,
Yeah,
I can pull like screenshots from dozens of games that are in this stage and look nothing like the way it was. Like a good example is Horizon Zero Dawn. You look at the pre-alpha stuff for that game and just like these first concept videos is like something completely different. And even like Destiny, I remember seeing like the early footage gameplay of Destiny, and it looks so rough. Like,
that's just it. Is like if they can do a decent job of at least the gameplay and everything, I could easily see Microsoft throwing them some like artists or team members just to like really like polish the game off and like get those graphics going up. If it's like from what we saw, like it's fairly rough. I mean, you can see the character models are at least like pretty in depth. The textures are definitely not quite right, but it looks like it's going to be like just a little bit of work on the texture end and artistry end and everything, and I think it'll polish up nicely. If the mechanics they can get working properly most of all, then I could easily see them. Yeah.
well, if they're trying to hit the same art style as in the promotional imagery they're putting out, even though it was a CGI trailer, if that's the kind of bar they're hitting for at least the look of the characters, don't judge any of these screenshots. But what intrigues me about the game is how are they going to do, one, they say it's a co-op game. They say it's more in the vein of Borderlands, but it's going to have that arcane twist to it, so very open-ended, a bigger open world. So we're getting a full, huge open world, next-gen arcane co-op shooter. But they said it's also single player as well. So I'm very curious how well they'll be able to implement their open-ended
like
game
environment
design.
and everything.
Yeah, because they are the type of designers to be like, okay, you can either go through this vent, like almost like Deus Ex, right? You can go through this vent, or you can go, balls to the wall.
They have like a few different options, and like, but
exactly,
all of those options are somewhat linear in a sense.
And the fact that they're like, oh, you can play the game single player, but it's also a co-op game. I would almost want them to say it is single player. There are single player aspects, but there will be aspects that need multiplayer, because I find it would be interesting that what if I need you like on this other end of the map to trigger a button or an alarm so these guards get distracted so I can go up in this area. Like I find
at least some mechanics to encourage co-op and everything.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like Arcane are a clever enough studio to implement a very interesting co-op loop that's not just like, oh, I'm going to put this guy up into the air, you're going to shoot him, or just like powers just like
I'm going to climb up to this ledge that's just a little too high, and then I'll pull you up onto it. Army of Two style.
Or like you're the only one who can get up on the roof, and the roof has like maybe a power bar, a box or something like that.
Or, special option.
Or, the water, pour holy water into the water supply of the building, and, like just, and I come in and I light like these sprinklers on and it starts burning. Like, I feel like there could be interesting stuff like that.
I think they said there was it 6 or 8 like characters? I think it was 6 characters kind of to start with, and each of them have their own kind of unique abilities, so it'd be interesting to see them like one of the abilities they were mentioning, and they kind of showed it in the thing there. It's like in the trailer you could go invisible, you can like one guy can like teleport or something like that, and so it'd be interesting to see how they're going to use those mechanics. Are you going to have like guy come in and sneak past the zombies and flip a switch for everyone else or something, or
exactly.
Sorry, zombies.
And
I'm thinking State of Decay, vampires.
vampire. But like considering there's either like 4 or 6 classes in the game, like how is that gonna balance with it playing single player as well? Like
Mm.
I'm just very curious how much they can commit to it being just single player for those people. But a
Yeah.
part of me, from what I saw of the trailer, I would like if they committed to almost like a Destiny route where, well, I'm curious, like, do you think when they say, oh, you can play it single player, that it's almost like matchmaking like Destiny, where you can technically play Destiny single player and you can just kind of matchmake into everything?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like they have a very good opportunity to show their open-ended gameplay mixed with a co-op twist to it. And I love the setting. Like, come on, we're gonna be hunting vampires at night. Like,
Yep.
it's gonna be such a cool game, I think. And
I
they
think
have
it's gonna be
such an
interesting.
interesting style.
Yep.
And now that they have the backing of Microsoft and their other team is off Deathloop and the whole studio can really focus on making Redfall this incredible next-gen co-op experience. It's funny, I was kind of like, okay, Redfall, it looks cool, the trailer.
Yeah.
All right. This is going to be like a Left 4 Dead kind of vampire hunting game.
And that's
And
the
then
impression
when,
I got too, like a linear sort of.
yeah, and now that they're like, oh, it's kind of like a more open world looter shooter Left 4 Dead, or not Left 4 Dead,
Borderlands. Yeah.
Borderlands, Destiny-ish kind of game. I
Yeah.
am way more excited than I was for
Oh
this.
yeah. It's the type of games I love. That's why
Years
like
ago.
and Xbox does it so well with
Yes,
a
they
lot of
do.
those co-op games and everything. And like their studios have shown that like they're one of the few that really focus on that.
Yeah, no, they're one of the few studios that when a game comes out, it usually has a single player, a robust multiplayer, and sometimes even like a robust horde mode. Like, look at Gears 5 as a package alone. Like, that's insane. You get so much game out of that, where a
Yeah.
lot of the time you only just get a single player, uh, and let
Like
alone
a
that single
short single
player.
player
Yeah, like
campaign.
a
Yeah.
short single player campaign where we can still hop onto Gears now, and there's still
Yep.
so much to do.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, no, Redfall, excited,
It's
very
looking
excited.
good.
But speaking of Arcane, let's get into Deathloop. So Deathloop is getting great reviews, with some outlets giving it a 10 out of 10, and it is um, coasting with a high Metacritic score as well, with the um, great properties like Psychonauts 2 and the reviews being so high. Now that Deathloop is getting praised, as well as just I can't believe how much of a role Microsoft Studio is on right now with their games. Like, you can say, even though it did come out last year, Flight Simulator, we got that very high Metacritic game on console finally, and the port was really, really good. And then we get something like Psychonauts 2, where it
Yeah.
has another high Metacritic game. Death's Door, another super high critically acclaimed game. And even though Deathloop is not on Xbox, it is a PlayStation 5 year exclusive at this time.
Yeah. It's
This
coming.
game is, yeah, yeah, it will be coming. Um, so it is very nice to see that, the purchases that they did are showing their worth, and especially a game like Psychonauts 2, that was in development under Microsoft's banner for quite some time. So, yeah, Deathloop, what did you think of this game?
I watched
From what you've
a
seen?
short video actually before we even decided to really talk about it. And I was interested. It's a cool game. Like it gives me the feel of Outer Worlds, kind of. Like you're in a first-person view mode. The dialogue and everything is kind of catchy and what do I want to say? It's basically, yeah, it's fun. Like they're playing around with it a lot. Like the
it looks
guy's getting
fun.
up. Like from what I saw in the short time I was watching, the guy's getting up. He's swearing a bunch. Can't remember his name. Like, oh, what do you mean I can't remember my name? Like, what the hell is with that? And like he was swearing an awful lot too. But it was interesting to see that, and then it kind of feels like it's almost a little mixed with 12 minutes. It's kind of like the Deathloop started over again. And it wants you kind of have an option right at the beginning to either continue the loop or try and end the loop, and based on that is kind of how you're going to be playing the next loop.
Well, yeah, like there's these visionaries across the map, and I think the visionaries, your powers are tied to each visionary. So if you kill a visionary, you can save like that power, and when you do the loop again, you can build up your powers and weapons. So there are things that can translate over, but it is kind of like a roguelike. They do give you a couple lives per loop, but if they can continue this role with Forza, which I think Forza is a sure thing, right? And then after Forza, Halo, I feel like if we can keep this quality going, and I know we haven't seen Halo in a while, and I honestly, I don't really want to see Halo again until it is fully ready and I play it. It'd be very nice to get some surprises out of Halo, like some legit like surprises out of the campaign. But I hope we keep keep the ball rolling. But not much to say about Deathloop, to be honest. Just more so wanted to bring it up as it is getting. Well, it will probably be up for Game of the Year, from what I've seen and from the reviews.
It looks really good. Like
I like that kind of '60s aesthetic to it. So
yeah, it's got a nice aesthetic. The graphics are amazing, and it's just an interesting gameplay style too. Having that loop come around and having you build up your character and kind of change things and see how it affects the next loop and everything. I liked that in 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Just trying to slowly but surely kind of put your plan together and figure out what you need to do and how you need to do it to get to that point that you want to get to and find out more about it so that you have that knowledge for the next loop.
Oh, yeah. Man, roguelike games, like loop games kind of like this, like and especially on the PlayStation side, they had Returnal and then Hades and now Deathloop. I feel like, and for us, Hades, 12 minutes, Deathloop, or not Deathloop yet, but I feel like Deathloop coming next year would be a nice kind of pause from those roguelike games, and we can kind of sit back. And the PlayStation 5 people can beta test the game, so when it does come out, it's a real solid product. So
that's just it. We're gonna get the nice polished version of it, and we'll get to see what's happening, and we'll get to see all the updates as they come along over the next year, and hopefully by the time it gets to Xbox, it's just going to be well polished and nice to play. So,
well, speaking of beta testers, it sounds like we're going to have some beta testers this week. Halo Infinite is back this weekend with another multiplayer flight, this time focused around big team battle, and we'll finally get to see this mode in action with the new player count of 12v12. So 12v12 is new player count, mind you, for big team battle. It's not like it's new to Halo. It was in Warzone, which not Battlefield, or not Call of Duty Warzone. Talking about Halo 5 Warzone, where it's kind of a mix of PvE, PvP. The test will come this weekend and will come back the next weekend as well. Not sure if this will be the last flight test for this game before launch, or if we'll get one last one at the end of October or early November. But I would suspect we would get at least one more before launch. At least one more, I think.
Yeah,
But,
I could totally
I
see that. And the only downside is you have to be one of the Halo insiders as of, I think, September 19th to be able to qualify for it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so I signed up for that now, but I'm a little late.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I didn't sign up. I really want to come into Halo Infinite fresh.
Yeah,
I've
see it for the
always,
first time, right?
yeah, I've always beta tested Halo games ever since Halo 3. So I think I've beta tested pretty much all the Halo games except for this one. So this is the first time I'm not beta testing it. And I just want to go, it's been so long since Halo 5. I just want to go into this fresh. There's been such a rocky, development of it. But from what we know of past Halo games, like Halo 2 especially, that game
Yep.
really came together in like the last 6 months.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like they're just buckling down as a team. They have a clear vision. If, from what I remember um, when the new director, when the guy came out, what's his name again? Joseph Ferris or something?
Something like that. I can't remember
Yeah.
exactly his name.
But when he was the director of Halo ODST and was always part of like pretty much like all the early Halo Bungie days, and he's always been part of Microsoft, but kind of working on other projects and stuff like that. So I hope when he joined the team again, well, I guess not again, but joined 343 to kind of steer this ship in the right direction and get this product shipped. I really hope we get something special at the end of the year. That
Yep.
little glimpse of the story mode we saw at E3 where he's kind of going through the debris field and passing around the bodies, and then he interacts with that new AI Cortana lookalike. That looked visually really good. Like his armor
Oh
looked
yeah.
all beat up. There was nice lighting to it. So there was a nice graphical fidelity to that. So I'm really curious what will come out of this. But I'm very curious what this beta weekend will have in store, how a more focused big team battle with, extra, like four, not much, like
Yeah.
it's
Few
24
extra
players
people in
compared to
there.
16, so
Yeah.
extra 8 players on there.
Yep. So yeah,
So,
4 on each team, which will add some
oh yeah.
extra chaos, of course.
Oh yeah.
And depending on the level sizes and everything. But it'll be really cool to see what kind of options they've got available, what they're going to bring to the table, how much they're taking from Halo 5 or Halo 4 or whatever and moving forward with. Like I remember one of the biggest things happening way back when they just introduced the dual wield of the SMGs. It was just kind of a game changer in Halo. It was a whole different way to
Thank God
play
they
at that
removed
point.
it.
Yeah, right? The
Yep.
armor lock and
Oh.
all the special armor abilities and everything. And now it's just going to be, another series of events. We'll see how it goes.
It feels more like Halo 3, it looks like, with more
Yeah.
just like focus armor abilities.
Yeah, focus back on Master Chief again, it looks like. So we're going to get more of his storyline and less splitting off into other teams and whatnot.
I wonder if they'll show more abilities in this flight, like different armor abilities and maybe some guns they haven't announced yet. So I hope we get to see at least something come out of this weekend that maybe we haven't seen before. How the grapple jack works with the vehicles and whatnot.
Yep.
So,
we get some live videos of people messing around, trying things out, and
yeah, and too bad it's still just bots again, from what I heard. And apparently they're doing very focused times, so they'll turn it on for like a couple hour during a certain time frame during the day, just so they can really like slam everyone onto the server at once.
Yeah, get everyone loading in at one time and see how much like Because there's a change in like load and everything for loading up the game as well as just joining onto a server or what have you. It's going to be lots of different tests they got to run, and I'm sure that's part of the reason they delayed the multiplayer as well. So they'll really get to see a focus on that, and hopefully it goes well. So
yeah, you know what? In the end, I just hope, Halo is one of the reasons why I love gaming. And
yep.
all I want is Halo Infinite to be an amazing product. So keep on testing it. I hope you get a couple more flights in. Just make sure this is a good Halo game, right? But it's a different Halo game. They're giving it to us in chunks, so it's not like the campaign is part of the multiplayer. Like those will be two different things you select in the menu. So it's a different Halo game in itself already. So
yeah,
but we talking. We're talking about a AAA game coming out at the end of the game, but let's kind of bring that down a little bit. Let's look at kind of the AA kind of games coming out. So
a little less money-driven games.
Yeah, right. So when we were younger, THQ was, everywhere. They did the wrestling games. They just did. They just did.
There's the skateboarding games, like so many.
Yeah, they had some extreme sports game. Or was that Midway who did like the XXX biking game or something like that?
Yeah, something.
But they were like in that category of Midway and all that. But THQ Nordic had their, I can't believe they're called THQ, right? But THQ Nordic had their showcase for their 10th anniversary, and they showed off quite a bit. I would say the biggest noteworthy additions were Destroy All Humans 2 Remastered, which
Reprobed.
Yeah, Reprobed, right? And a SpongeBob video game as well. But here, let me go over the list of games that they did announce here. Let me just pull my list down a bit. So Destroy All Humans 2, Reprobed.
Yep.
Outcast 2. A
New beginning. Oh, 2. A new beginning. Yeah.
Outcast 2. Jagged Alliance 3. Expeditions. MX versus ATV Legend. You know what? I always like the MX.
I like those games.
Those games are always fun. So if we can get a fun one out of those. Was it Sniper Power 3?
Yep.
Yeah, and what's this
Elix,
one?
I think.
Elix 2 and SpongeBob SquarePants and the Cosmic Snake or Shake.
Cosmic Shake. It looks pretty trippy. It's
actually the SpongeBob game looked really good.
Right?
The graphics reminded me of the movie actually that came out not too long ago. The recent one. I was showing my kid.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, with Keanu Reeves in it. The animation in that was great. I couldn't believe it.
It was awesome.
Yeah. So that looks really cool. And Destroy All Humans. But honestly, the rest, like there was some rough stuff in there.
Yeah.
Some of the trailers for some of the games, especially Elix 2. Like Elix 2.
Like if B-movies were a video game.
Yeah, if B-movies were video games, these were it right here. That's for sure. Like Elix 2 looked rough, in my opinion.
Yeah, and apparently Elix 1 didn't have like Elix 1 didn't have like a great reception in the first place either. It had a lot of issues. Expeditions Rome, I believe, was more almost like Civilization sort of style. I was very surprised by which one was it? The Jagged Alliance. I was looking at them. It had a weird name. The Expeditions Rome. No, it was.
I never even heard of Jagged Alliance. Like Jagged Alliance 3. Like I love how they have purchased all these old franchise and they're like trying to bring them back, but they're bringing them back like who the hell is going to buy Jagged Alliance 3? Like thinking like,
and it wasn't.
where's Jagged Alliance 1 and 2? Like,
Yeah, like I hadn't heard of this game before. Like, yeah, where's 1 and 2? Like, you might have wanted to like tack on a different name or something, or maybe there's a big enough like following for
are
the
like
original 1
Jagged
and 2.
Alliance just like a name underneath that? Like,
Yeah. And our mistake in our notes here, it's not Sniper Power 3, it's Super Power 3. That was my the one I was looking at that I was like, as soon as I saw the title, I was like, okay, this could be interesting, like a superhero game. Like, not a superhero game at all. It's a dictator game.
Sorry.
You're just,
I apologize on that.
yeah,
it's just called Superpower 3?
Yeah, it's Superpower 3.
That
And so
is
apparently there have been a couple other ones. And yeah, you're a like a leader of a country.
Let me guess. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They mean like a superpower, like you're
like a nation superpower. Yeah, like the US or something. And
all right.
so it's an interesting game, but yeah, much more strategic. I think it's turn-based and everything. It's it was an interesting lineup of games. Kind of weird. That
like double A stuff. Like I feel like we have fallen off those kind of games.
I feel like they're just leaning hard into their past. Like, it's their 10th anniversary. They're like, okay, we've done all these other games and everything. They did an awesome job on Destroy All Humans. I've always loved Destroy All Humans. It was hilarious when it first came out, and I enjoyed playing it. So I can't wait to see Reprobed. But
yeah, I hope a bunch of these come to Game Pass as well.
Oh yeah, I imagine they will. I mean, Destroy All Humans 1 came to Game Pass, so we get to try that out and play through it.
These are perfect, like 4 or 5 months after release kind of games, you know?
Yep. I'm finding I'm getting too old for hard mode, though.
Yeah.
It's the second game where I'm just like, I get to the very end and I'm just like, I probably should have started this over.
Yeah, like it's like normal or easy, and
the reflexes are slowing down.
I'll just go through normal most of the time. But yeah, I'm never gonna I think the only game I'll really attempt to do hard mode is the new Halo game, just out of pride.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's just it. And it's like the focus of if I'm gonna play it once, I might as well try it on hard. And if I can get through it on hard, at least I did it on hard. Because if I know if I do it on normal, I'm never gonna try to do it on hard. I'm not gonna.
No, I don't know.
I don't have it in me anymore. I'm getting too old.
Well, I hope these games don't get delayed, but speaking of delays, we are getting, not a huge delay, just about a month, but Battlefield 2042 has officially been delayed to November 19th and will come out after Call of Duty. Yeah. Here is, Dan, do you want to read their official statement?
Yep, so their official statement is, we've made the decision to shift to the launch of Battlefield 2042. The game will now be released worldwide on November 19th, 2021. Building the next generation of Battlefield during a global pandemic has created unforeseen challenges for our development teams. Given the scale and scope of the game, we've hoped our teams would be back in our studios together as we move towards launch. With ongoing conditions not allowing that to happen safely, we'll all work hard, with all the hard work the teams are doing from home, we feel it is important to take the extra time to deliver on the vision of Battlefield 2042 for our players. Your enthusiasm for the game has been very inspiring. We believe in the game we're making, and we thank you for the patience we put into finishing touches. We put some finishing touches into the experience. Updates on the open beta will come later this month. Oscar Gabrielson and the Battlefield 2042 development team, Studio GM, DICE.
So that, not too bad.
Understandable.
It's only a month delay, and considering it is now coming out after Call of Duty, how could this affect the sales of this game? Also, the stock dropped, not surprisingly, but after they did this announcement. With delay this close to release, are we worried about the quality of this game? Will we be getting a rush product or something coming in really hot? Like, I don't know, like a delay, like what, I guess 1 month can do a lot, but
That's just it. I think the stock price drop kind of reads into it a little bit, and you
Very
understand where.
reactionary.
Yeah, it's very much so an option on their end to kind of change how the sales are going to happen and everything, because there's going to be definitely a decent amount of people out there who
Oh,
look forward to both Battlefield and Call of Duty.
yeah.
So they're going to go, like we're planning at least, to jump into Battlefield for the first month or so while they wait for Call of Duty to come out. Now with it moving and it coming out after Call of Duty, they're going to be a little more focused on that. And with Call of Duty being like a little bit bigger of a community than Battlefield, I would
Just a
say.
little.
Just a touch.
Yeah.
It's probably going to affect the ranking of the game and everything. Not so much in the experience sense, because I know I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to focus probably a lot more on Battlefield than I will Call of Duty. I used to be a Call of Duty fan, but I found the gameplay just wasn't for me after a while.
It just gets stale, right? Like every year. Like there are some noteworthy releases, definitely. And I find their campaign is always solid. They always do like a Michael Bay over the top campaign and some cool ideas. But this year's this year's Call of Duty just does not look appealing. And from what I've heard of the beta so far, this might be the first year in a while of it's probably since Infinite Warfare that we might need to take a rest on this year's Call of Duty. But I don't know. Battlefield being delayed just a month, like that's not a huge deal, but it makes me think like how janky is this game? Like, and they say there's a beta still coming.
Yeah,
there's not much. There's not
much time for that. Yeah.
Like what is this beta really going to be a beta of? Or did they delay this so they can actually implement some of the data from the beta they're going to be doing? But the beta is more like a stress test. I like how Halo calls it. They're flights, you know? Mm-hmm. They're going to take the first flight, and so they can avoid
see if this flight
beta.
makes it to its destination or crashes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we'll see what happens, right? But I don't know. I'm very much looking forward to this Battlefield. I'm still holding up hope that it will come to Game Pass. Fingers crossed that it will come to Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could be one of its saving graces. If it ends up coming to Game Pass, then you got nothing to really worry about. Yeah, exactly, right? I would spend some money on that because I'm already planning to. Like, Battlefield's always been one of my favorite games. I'm definitely going to get it to at least play it, try it, whatever. Yeah. And like Call of Duty, I haven't been investing in it over the last while just because it's like I'll play some of the free stuff. I've got Warzone going with a couple of buddies every once in a while, but I mean I don't have it in me to really level up and prestige my guy like crazy or anything.
No, and I want to see those tornadoes like come through. I just want to see.
Yeah. I want to see some cool, interesting gameplay and see how that's going to be affected. Yeah. See those wingsuits in a tornado or something.
And I just want to see the scale, right?
Yeah.
The scale of that. So
I've always enjoyed Battlefield for that. I can get a good sniper going and be picking off people from across a map, or I can be running in, blowing holes through a wall and climbing into somebody's house.
Yeah, I'm curious how, like, I'm sure they'll keep the hallmark destructible environments, and even from what we've seen, it's already like that. I wonder how
it more.
Yeah, I wonder how advanced they'll get with it, considering it looks like some levels are going to be in cities and whatnot, and I'm very curious how much will be destructible in the actual environment.
I think that's part of why they focused on the weather in this game, because I remembered in the other ones that it was mostly player-based on whether something would happen or not. So it was harder to affect the world. So there was like the one building that collapsed. There's some stuff you can move around or whatever. Yeah. And
No, I said yeah. No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so it'd be interesting to see with the weather, just like, because you can have different variations of weather and what's going to come through, how it's going to affect the world there. Are you going to have like a thunderstorm come through and take out the power in all the buildings? Are you going to see a tornado come through and start tearing up and changing the landscape?
Yeah, and I'm curious, like, they have some levels that are like desert. I'm curious if the desert will change with the tornado going through, if like some like
Yeah.
tunnels get like totally filled in or stuff
Buried
like
or
that. Exactly.
yeah. See like
Uh,
yeah, whole hills move and everything or water
yeah,
spout out from somewhere and or disappear and get buried in sand.
I'm
Turn into
very curious.
quicksand. That'd
Like,
be cool.
but I remember like the Bad Company games, it was more like smaller buildings and you could
Yeah.
really take those down. I remember like running through a building and it's like collapsing around you, and sometimes
Yeah.
it will actually collapse on you.
I remember half the time my goal was just to get some C4 and like you blow out like a few walls and then place your C4 so that you lure somebody kind of in the building and then blow it and collapse the building on them.
Oh yeah, like what a good game. Like
Yep.
I would love even like a remake of Battlefield Bad Company. Like bring those
Yeah.
games back.
Oh, I can't wait for them to make another Bad Company game. It was so much fun. So much
I hope they
destructibility
do.
and yeah.
I
It was
hope they
just
do.
nice to change the feel of a game like that where it's like, oh, I'm not just hide behind cover and pop out and try and shoot and like hide behind cover again. It's like, yeah, you can hide behind cover. I can blow up your cover.
Exactly, right? Yeah, no, like or like you can just like blow a chunk out of the wall and just start sniping through it. Like
Yeah.
there was a lot of creative stuff in those particular Battlefield games I found,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's when they first started introducing that whole destruction in the environment. And I think it was in
That's what
the
they
Bad
became known
Company
for.
series. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So no, there's
Turned out
there's
amazing
some
though.
great stuff in the Bad Company games. But you know, Bad Company, yeah, no, Bad Company. Battlefield is coming, and I'm sure we'll have a great time. You know, the small time we'll have with it until Halo totally rules our life, because we
Yep.
know we're gonna have Halo right away, right?
Oh yeah.
But I kind of just want to get into a quick discussion on kind of people are going crazy on Twitter in the last like week, and there's been tons of talk about like acquisitions and new developers coming in and possible publisher acquisition. Um, I would just like to discuss what we would like to see out of a possible publisher or developer acquisition. We have talked about this here and there in the past, but I want us to really get into what developer or publisher and why Microsoft would be a good fit for them. There was a lot of talk that a big announcement, like huge announcement, was coming
Yeah.
this week,
Something
actually.
massive.
Yeah, like on Monday or something.
Yep.
But honestly, considering we had no like idea of the Bethesda acquisition until pretty much the day of, I feel like these rumors should be taken with a grain of salt, right?
Yeah. At
But
least a little bit.
so I'll kind of start it off. I personally think and this is a publisher, and I've had a couple conversations with other people about it as well. But I think a publisher that would really be a good fit for them would be Sega. And it's not just so they could have more ties in the Japanese market, which would be super beneficial for them, but
Yep.
it's their relationship with Sega. Like the original Xbox, essentially the Dreamcast 2.0, right?
Yep.
Like there's a lot of sequels to Dreamcast games on that system, like Jet Set Radio Future or their motorbike game. What was that? There's some of their sports games, and just they just had a ton of stuff. Like you even got Shenmue 3 or Shenmue 2. No, we got that crappy Shenmue 3 not too long ago, but we got Shenmue 2 out of that. But
Yep.
and just a lot of we got Panzer Dragoon Orta. So there was a lot of Sega lineage in the original Xbox, and that continued for a while. And you can even look at it with Game Pass as well. You know, we have the Yakuza full series on there. They haven't even removed them yet. Um, we have other Sega games on there. I would love to see every Sega Sonic game on there eventually, like every single one.
Yeah. And seeing Sega like associated with a proper console again would just be interesting
Exactly.
to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they are a console mascot again, as Sonic would be. And I would love to see them have a real budget behind a new Sonic game with
Yeah.
resources like Microsoft kind of resources. I feel like Sonic has had some great games. Like Sonic Mania was fantastic recently. They've even had some good 3D Sonic games, in my opinion. Like Sonic Generations is a legit fantastic game, and it's got FPS boost on Xbox. People should go check that game out. It does still hold up, in my opinion. So I feel like there is a good opportunity for Microsoft to get the Persona series. The Persona series
Yep.
is such a huge Japanese RPG series. So I see a lot of potential with Sega, and the fact that they also they sold off their like pachinko part of their business. So it feels like they're almost like trying to set themselves up to be a little bit more desirable of a company to purchase for like a company
I
like
could see that.
Microsoft or even a Sony or something like that. But
Yep.
that's who I would want. What about yourself? Like a Take-Two or a Ubisoft or
I was thinking honestly like Ubisoft. If that happened, I would be just all sorts of happy because I think Bethesda and Ubisoft have been a staple in my life for a very long time. Just all those Assassin's Creed games and um, just the
Tom
what's it called,
Clancy
Watch
games?
Dogs, Tom Clancy games. Yeah, I remember playing Tom Clancy games with my brother growing up, playing those Splinter Cell games, trying to stealth our way through the buildings, and
It's not like there's not a lineage there with
yeah,
Xbox, like especially with the original Xbox. You can almost say the original Xbox kind of put Ubisoft on the map, right? With
oh
the
yeah.
Splinter Cell games and their Tom Clancy
But it was such a
outings.
good fit too, because the Splinter Cell games had the three green lights and
Yeah. Oh
everything,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
it kind of
Very
played into the
Xbox.
whole Xbox mascot type deal. And
Oh
they would,
yeah. Oh well, I'd say Sam Fisher was almost a mascot in itself with
oh yeah,
Master Chief. Yeah.
yeah,
I'd say if there's two mascots of the original Xbox, it would be Master Chief and Sam Fisher, for
oh yeah,
sure. For
absolutely.
sure. Yeah.
That's what always made me think of, like, especially on the old Xbox magazines and everything, you'd always get good highlights on Splinter Cell, Halo.
Oh yeah.
I'll just, yeah, Master Chief's green armor, you got the green lights on his face for Sam Fisher, and
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't believe, like, I played almost every Assassin's Creed game, and I'm sorry to say I haven't invested the money in Valhalla just yet, but I'm
Me
excited
either.
to play that too. But it's just with all these Game Pass games, if it came to Game Pass, I would be just ecstatic because I'd just be playing the crap out of that.
I've played a lot of my Assassin's Creed games actually with games with gold, surprisingly enough.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I've
that
gotten a
too. It was
lot.
funny. I got with my Xbox One when I first got that. It was the 1S, and I ended up getting one of the games with it. And I just played it was, which one was it? It was the steampunk one in England.
Yeah, yeah. Syndicate.
Syndicate, yeah. And I played
That's
through
great.
just all of Syndicate because I just ended up getting it with my Xbox, and it was just an excellent game to play that with.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
the only one I think I haven't played really other than Valhalla is Unity, because I just heard absolutely terrible things about Unity, and it hasn't really come up as a game that just is available to me. So
Yeah, I want to play Origins and
yeah.
Odyssey and Valhalla. I heard Odyssey actually got a FPS boost as well, so it runs at 60 frames per
Oh,
second.
I got
So
to try
I
that
see.
because I have it for my Xbox One, and I was playing through it, but I didn't get all the way through.
I'm pretty sure that game has smart delivery. So, or no, wait, no, not smart delivery. It does FPS boost because it wasn't the
Yeah,
Xbox Series X game. Valhalla
yeah,
has smart delivery
yeah.
on it, but No, I think Ubisoft. At least if Microsoft bought Ubisoft, at least we would get a Splinter Cell greenlit right away, right? We'd have to
Oh
get
yeah,
at least a greenlit a Splinter Cell game. But honestly, if they bought a Ubisoft, I would say make Bethesda games exclusive to Xbox 100%, which it sounds like from what we can see from Redfall, Starfield, and we are going to be getting Deathloop and Tokyo
yeah,
Ghostwire eventually, and I'm almost positive. Well, I'm positive the next Elder Scrolls will be. It's pretty much all Bethesda games will be, besides
yeah.
coming out with the re-release of older games that have been released already.
Oh yeah, I could see Bethesda just doing exclusives for Xbox until it's like a remaster of it. So
Yeah,
like Starfield comes out and like, yeah, 4 or 5 years down the road or something maybe when they're ready to remaster it with some new technology or something, then you could look at like, yeah, release it on everything then. Why
I would
not?
say Ubisoft keep them multi-platform.
Yeah,
Maybe have one or two titles here, like a Splinter Cell that is only on Xbox. Make their games all available on Game Pass.
yep,
But I would say keep Ubisoft multi-platform. Own them, but keep them multi-platform.
yep,
Keep them as a separate entity of you guys as Ubisoft still, and
yeah.
maybe add some more studios under their because they're getting too big for their bridges, right?
Oh yeah.
Like Microsoft Gaming, there's a lot there. There's a lot in
Oh
development.
yeah.
It's almost getting outrageous, to be honest.
I don't know how you
So
manage all those studios and
yeah,
all those developers under one roof and really like have that cohesive and organized. They got to run on silos, basically, like have each independent developer kind of doing their own thing, but just with some oversight and resources.
yeah,
So hey, if you're
yeah,
struggling here, you're struggling there, use these resources.
yeah.
Like get these
And
games out there and everything. Take these people or experts for advice and see how that
yeah,
goes.
I would love if they, considering how big all their studios and how many studios they have under their wing, it'd be interesting if they did like a convention, an internal convention with all of them. I think
Yeah.
they are trying to very much push the talk with each other. If you guys want to collaborate with each other, just like do it. If the coalition are the best people we have in our company that work with Unreal Engine and you guys are working with it, you're having an issue here, reach out to maybe someone in the coalition who can be like, oh, we can fix this.
Yeah.
But no, Ubisoft would be, they definitely have a lineage. I think out of the two companies, we did talk about Sega and Ubisoft. They have, I'd say, more almost a lineage with Microsoft and Xbox than other consoles out there, more so
Yeah.
than Nintendo or even Sony, right? Especially Sega, like you know, uh, at least from what we remember of the original Xbox, it was like, yeah, like I said, the Dreamcast 2.0. Like I
I could see
love
them.
Jet Set Radio, and please give me
Oh yeah.
another Jet Set Radio. Like that game, people have been wanting another Jet Set Radio for so long, and I feel like with
With
today's
Microsoft, they'd
tech,
have the money to do it. Yep,
oh
and the
yeah,
tech they've got.
exactly, yeah, exactly, and I feel like they just for video game, like I feel like having a bigger presence in Japan and that it's almost like it feels right? Like Japan is such a uh, it's almost like well, of course it is a staple, but it's such a staple of the video game industry, and
Yeah.
I feel like that is something we're kind of missing on the Xbox platform, where I think
Oh yeah.
Sony and PlayStation kind of have that advantage. Obviously, they do come from that country as well, Japan.
Yeah.
But
They've got a
now
lot
that
more
we have
influence
Tango,
there.
yeah, and
Yeah,
now
you've
that we have
always.
Tango GameWorks underneath our belt, I think Sega would be awesome. Yeah.
I think
So
Sega would be excellent, especially with all the sales of Series S's going on in Japan and
oh yeah,
everything. those are blowing up because they're affordable, and yeah, you can. They're so tiny too. Like they're just so compact. You can fit them in such a nice small area. Like a lot of the living quarters in Japan and everything. And there's a lot more focus on that, and I'd like to see more of those. I've always felt Sony was more of a, of course, they're a Japanese company, but yeah, they've always brought more of the Japanese-oriented art styles and video games over to their platform a lot more often than we get to see it with Xbox. So it'd be interesting to see that influence kind of build back up and see, Sega selling Sega branded Series S's over in Japan and everything. Basically like another Sega console from way back in the day. Like I remember playing the Genesis and playing the Game Gear.
Imagine getting like their entire library just slapped onto Game Pass right away. That's insane. That would be insane. There's such a history there. And you know what? Like talk about an opportunity to be like, okay, we didn't exist during this time when you were competing with Sony and Nintendo, but if we buy you, we can take that game catalog from that era. So you can say that's almost you can say that's almost like a blank period there, where if Nintendo ever wanted to step their game off, but if Sony ever wanted to come out and be like, oh, in our PlayStation Now, we have all of, PlayStation 1's lineage, PlayStation 2. Well, we can be like, okay, we have Genesis, we have Dreamcast, we have Sega CD, we have all those games from that library.
All the unreleased ones you wanted to see. Yeah, we polished them up and put them out.
But I feel like that's an era where Xbox didn't exist, and they can essentially take that era and make it part of them like that.
And that's just it. It's like I would love to replay some of those games with my kids. I remember playing them with my brother when I was super little and just learning the ropes and getting used to the controls and everything. And yeah, it would be awesome to have my kids playing along and be able to help them out with co-pilot and get them playing, trying out those games. That was the funny thing about Superliminal too. It was an interesting game to introduce my 9-year-old to, and she gets to understand more about the game and how perspective works and everything. Like you see something close up, it's a lot bigger. You see something far away, it was interesting. I've found video gaming starting to slowly work its way into my life with my kids and everything too, and kind of develop more and become more of what I picture it to be. So it'll be interesting to see.
All right. Well, I think that's a show we got here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About it. And so as always, we got our little bit of closing at the end here, and again, don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube page and hit that like button, and feel free to leave a comment. What were you gonna say, Josh?
Yeah. No. I think. With everything coming in the future, and you know what, we should have a better idea next week, hopefully, with Tokyo Game Show. But no, I am excited, and I think we can be excited for a possible Sega merger in the future. But yeah, no, that's me getting down that road again. But see, I'm just excited about that. But no, it was a good show, and God, I hope Andrew's having a good time wherever. He says he's out rehearsing right now out in Dundas or something like that. So Andrew, we miss you. I'm sorry to the audience if I stumbled over a couple of the news items here. So I'm still trying to get the hosting down for this show.
Struggle a bit without our host. That's
exactly
okay. We'll
get
him back soon enough.
And like, how do you end a show, right? Like, you just like
this.
Just like cut it right here. So
but you just find us on Spotify and Google Podcast, and just look for Xbox North Podcast. We're on Reddit, Instagram, and you look up Xbox North Podcast, and for Twitter, it's @NorthXbox.
All right. Yeah, and you can come interact with me there. I pretty much handle the Twitter account. So if you have any questions, like I said, you can always ask them I'm always down to talk about stupid stuff. And if you have any serious questions or you want to know anything about me or Dan or if Andrew's not here, we can always make up a story about Andrew as well. That's always fun.
Look at how much he's enjoying playing video games down there.
Exactly, right? He's saving so much water, right? He's saving so much water.
Probably got a beer right now. You
exactly,
better.
Right? So thanks for putting up with us. Thanks for putting up with me as a host again. Sorry about me kind of fumbling over a couple things. Hey, but you know what? I'm getting used to this. I'm trying my best here. The more I host, the more comfortable I'll get over time. So
more Andrew seems to be okay with it.
Yeah, right. So
okay.
Yeah, well, he's the actor, right? So that's what he's doing right now. He's always rehearsing. So, but
thank you
thanks
for
listening.
watching and
Have a
being
good
a
one,
part
guys.
of us. Bye.
Good day.